Hello and welcome to the very last Play-Up podcast of the 24-25 season with myself, Scott McLachlan. And we're here to review and celebrate Pompey's first championship season for 14 years. It's very easy to describe it as a roller coaster, probably with more downs than ups, but there are a lot of great things to remember. And we've all got a large drink to toast our successes, so I hope you grab one too as you listen along. So let's crack on with it. I'm joined by all four of my comrades who contribute to this pod, and as I literally couldn't do it without them, I'd like a little ripple of applause as I introduce each one. So first up is our resident quizmaster, Phil Sands.
Evening all.
Bravo.
Next up is the man whose passport may have seen more use than his season ticket over the last 12 months, Reece Percival.
Good evening, everybody.
And without doubt, the nicest man in Podland, that's Tim Harfield. How are you, Tim?
Thank you very much. Yeah, good, thanks.
And leastly and lastly, it's our one-time rock star, Jamie Casper. How you doing, Jamie?
All right, my loves. Don't crowd, just throw money.
You're the only one clapping yourself. Well done, mate.
Well, yeah.
That's he was a one-time rock star, so I'm sure he did that anyway. So before we trudge through the season review, I think, Phil, you've got a season-ending quiz for us, so take it away.
I do indeed. So it's going to be a quick fire quiz this week. Basically, it's going to be the start of Mastermind. You're each going to have 2.5 minutes to answer some quick fire questions about this season, about the people who played this season. Some easy ones, some tricky ones, and some that Reece is going to absolutely hate. So I've done a draw to see who goes first, completely randomly. Tim, you are first.
Okay.
So you will have 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I've got the stopwatch ready. You ready, Tim?
Yeah. Do we get the music as well, Tim?
It's much lower budget than that.
Well, you're in the dark already, Tim. We can't see your camera, so we just need a spotlight on you.
Right.
Go for
Okay.
it.
So we're ready to go, Tim. Okay, starting now. Who scored Pompey's first goal of the season?
Ooh, Sorensen.
Correct. Which player has been brought on as a substitute the most times this season?
Oh, that's a good one. So there's only 2 minutes as well, isn't there?
You can pass if you want.
I think I might have to pass on that one, yeah. I can't think who that would be.
Terry Devlin with 21 appearances.
God.
Which team has scored the most number of goals against us in total in the league this season?
Cool. Stoke.
It's West Bromwich Albion with 8
West
goals.
Brom.
Which team did Pompey sign Nicholas Schmidt from?
Oh, my God. That's one of those Austrian teams where it's got like a W and an S together, isn't it? Or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I can't remember what they're actually called, though, but
Okay,
that's surely about half a point.
Yeah, I'll give you half of that. It was Blau-Weiss Linz. Colby Bishop made his return from heart surgery against which team?
I think that was Preston.
It was Preston, correct. Who was the only player to appear for Pompey this season whose first name and last name starts with the same letter?
Brilliant. Hang on a second. Sammy Silvera.
Oh, bugger that up. There were 2 then. The other correct answer was Adil Oshish. What was Pompey's final points tally for the season?
53?
Oh, so close. It was 54.
54.
Jordan Williams and Ben Killip signed from the same team. Which team was it?
Barnsley.
Correct. Pompey lost their final pre-season friendly 2-0 against which League One side?
Oh, God. Absolutely no idea. Pass.
We always lose against them, Charlton.
Ugh.
Who's played the most number of minutes in the league this season?
Ooh. Nearly in sizing. Murphy?
No, it's Connor Ogilvie with 4,029 minutes. Who's picked up the highest number of yellow cards this season?
Highest number of yellows. We've had quite a lot of cards, haven't we, across this season? So is it going to be someone in midfield?
It is someone in midfield.
Dazelle.
It was Andre Dazelle, 11 yellows. Toby Stewart was loaned out to 3 different teams this season. Can you name one of them?
Crawley.
Correct. You could have also had Tunbridge Angels or Wealdstone FC.
Nice.
Who's made the most appearances this season without scoring a goal?
Ooh. Don't know, Schmidt? There must be an outfield player.
No, it's Marlon Pack. Pompey's main shirt sponsor is the University of Portsmouth, but can you name either of the other companies' names that appear on the shirt?
Or what's one of them called? Beeboo or something like that?
Beeboo, very good.
Yeah.
And last but not least, what country is Abdoulaye Kamara from?
Oh, Senegal?
Oh, I've started so often. It was Guinea.
Guinea, okay.
So, Tim, you scored a very
Tim.
respectable 9 points.
Nice, I should
Well done,
do me
Tim.
well going into the general knowledge round.
Yeah. So next up, Reece. Are you ready, Reece? Is it
No, not
swig of
really.
Just 9 to beat. Just 9
Just
to
9
beat.
to beat. Oh dear. Go on then.
Okay, right. Are you ready? We'll kick things off with what position did Pompey finish in the league this season?
12th.
I wish we did. 16th. Four of the teams we played this season have sold the naming rights to their stadium. Name one of those four stadiums.
Oh, the Stoke Stadium.
You've got to name it.
Betfair Stadium, is it?
Well, close. It's Bet365.
Betfair, yeah.
Which player has played the least number of minutes in the league this season?
Kamara.
No, it's Ben Stevenson with 6 minutes. Who is Portsmouth's tallest outfield player?
Oh, Shaughnessy.
No, it's Hayden Matthews at a whopping 6'4". Cassini Yengi failed to score or have a single shot on target in how many games this season?
14.
Correct. Very good, Reece. Which of Pompey's league games saw 9 yellow cards issued, the highest total of the season?
Oh, crikey. Honestly, don't know. Luton at home.
No, it's Derby. The first goal scored at Fratton Park by a Pompey player came in the 1-1 draw with Oxford United. Who scored it?
Murphy.
No, it was Mark O'Mahony. Sonny Silvera, with the alliteration of the name, a Pompey loan, was cut short after a disappointing run of games. Where did he finish the season on loan?
Blackpool.
Correct. Which league fixture was played in front of the largest crowd this season?
Oh, was it away at Derby?
No, it's away at Sunderland. Paddy Lane was ruled out for the season with an injury to which part of his body?
Leg.
It was knee.
That's on the leg.
Which current Pompey player has the most international caps?
Current Pompey player. I don't know. Yengi?
No, it's Matt Ritchie, 16 Scotland caps,
Oh, dear.
believe it or not.
Blimey.
Which member of Pompey's coaching staff made the most senior appearances as a player? Was it John Messino, John Harley, or Zesh Raymond?
Ooh. John Harley.
No, it's John Messino with 490. Which former Pompey player had an injury-plagued career at Fratton Park, yet managed to play 17 consecutive games for his new team on loan in the second half of the season?
Lowry.
Lowry, correct. Which A-League team did Pompey sign Thomas Waddingham from?
Oh, Melbourne Socceroos. I've no idea.
It was Brisbane Roar. And finally, Riley Towler scored 1 goal this season. Who was it against?
Crikey. Sunderland.
No, it was Swansea.
Good old Wiley Taylor.
Reece, you've scored 4 points, which puts you in second place.
Out of 2. Fantastic.
Nice. Well done,
Okay,
Reece.
Scott, who's been researching the season like a madman for the last few days, so I'm expecting nothing short of 15 out of 15 here.
No, not going to happen.
Are you ready?
Memory of a goldfish. Go on.
Are you ready, Scott?
Yes.
Right, here we go. Pompey only got the double over one team this season. Who was it?
That was QPR.
QPR, correct. Who scored his only goal of the season in a vital 2-1 victory against Cardiff City before going off injured and missing the next 11 games?
Omani.
No, it's Connor Shaughnessy. Josh Murphy was by far the most creative player this season. How many assists did he register?
11.
14. Pompey scored against every team in the league except one. Who was it?
Pass.
It was Luton Town. Who appeared as a centre-back in 12 championship games this season, but was only on the winning side once?
Riley Towler.
No, it's Tom McIntyre. Which player has the middle name Leslie?
Do I get a clue or just no?
No.
It could be any of them.
It's not Abdullah Kamara.
Okay, I'm going to say it's Conor Ogilvie.
No, Regan Paul. Which country? Christian Sadie is eligible to play for England, and which other country?
Oh, United States.
No, Liberia. Which team did Pompey sell Owen Moxon to in the January transfer window?
That was Tranmere.
No, it was Stockport. Cade Gordon spent the second half of the season on loan at Portsmouth, but with which championship side did he start the season?
Was it Watford?
It was Norwich. What do Zach Swanson, Isaac Hayden and Cohen Bramall have in common?
Pass.
They all were on the books at Arsenal but never made a senior appearance for them. 3 Pompey players have scored 3 or more goals in one game this season. Colby Bishop and Callum Langer 2. Who is the third?
Atkinson.
Very good. What was the name of the Swedish defender who Pompey signed as injury cover, but then himself got injured and never actually played for us?
Milosevic.
Very good. How many times did Gavin White appear on the bench for Pompey this season?
I'm going to say 2.
So close it was once against Leeds on the opening day. Geographically, who are Pompey's closest rivals?
Oxford.
That's Millwall, 76 miles away. And finally, how many clean sheets did Pompey keep away from home?
I'm going to say none.
You'd be correct. It's none.
Felt like none.
So a brave showing there.
Some of those seemed an awful lot more difficult than Tim's and Reece. But anyway, I'm
That's all right.
I was waiting for someone.
Yeah.
I randomised the questions. I absolutely randomised the questions. It's normally
Okay.
Reece
I
that
got 10 on
complains
those
about them being-
personally.
I was rubbish, and I knew it was going to be. So anyway, all yours, Jamie.
Yeah, no pressure.
Okay, and I'm just going to reset my stopwatch. So basically, we have got Reece in third with 4, Scott with 8, Tim with 9. So it is now down to Jamie. Are you ready?
No.
Okay, then I shall begin. What was Pompey's goal difference at the end of the season?
Minus 15.
Oh, so close, it's minus 13. Against which team did Will Norris make his final Pompey appearance?
Oxford.
Stoke. How many Pompey players scored own goals this season?
2.
It's 5. Ogilvy, Swanson, Paul Pack and Atkinson. Jacob Farrell only played 1 game for Pompey before succumbing to a knee injury that ruled him out for the season. Who was it against?
Reading.
It's Sheffield United. Which player wore the highest numbered shirt this season?
Callum Lang, 49.
Very good, 49. At least 1 Pompey player was booked in all but 2 games this season. Name either of those games where we didn't pick up a booking.
No idea. Sheffield United.
I know it's Oxford at home or disgracefully Millwall at home. Ivan Boa has represented which country at under 21 level?
Kazakhstan.
Scotland. How many ex Pompey players have scored against us this season?
1.
No, it's 3. Matt Clark, Michael Smith, and Jed Wallace. Which league fixture was played in front of the smallest crowd? Oxford United away, 11,423. How many goals did Pompey score in the FA Cup and League Cup combined?
2.
None.
Oh, I was going to say none.
Which youth team player was named as a substitute for 4 league games but didn't make it onto the pitch?
I don't know.
It was Harry Clout. How many permanent signings did Pompey make in the summer transfer window?
7.
12. Who scored his first goal for Pompey away at Hillsborough?
Christian Sadie.
No, Harvey Blair. Jordan Archer played a full 90 minutes once this season. Who was it against?
I don't know.
It was Sheffield Wednesday. And
I got one right.
There's one question there. Freddie Potts' time at Portsmouth marked his second loan spell away from West Ham. Which team did he spend the previous season with?
Was it Stoke?
It was Wycombe Wanderers. So Reece has got a smile on his face.
I bet he
I
has.
know
Yeah.
the gummers of the quiz.
So fortunately, I didn't have to come up with a tiebreaker. In fourth place, Jamie with a very impressive 1 point. Reece in third with 4. Scott with 8, and this season's know-it-all was Tim with 9 points. Well done, gentlemen. Well done.
Well done, Tim.
Thank you.
Have another swig of water
I will.
in celebration. Thanks for that, Phil. That's really good.
Yeah, cheers, Phil.
So we'll crack on with the season review. So we're going to talk about a number of games between us all. So I've picked out 4 from the season, which we're going to discuss in detail. But I'm going to rattle through all of the games and just make a little comment on each of them. Some of them serious, some of them humorous, hopefully. So obviously started off back in August. Go back in time. Let's do some wibbly wobblies back in time to the Leeds Pompey game in August, which was a bonkers game. Leeds hit the bar twice in the first 10 minutes, finally taking the lead from the spot. Pompey hit back with Sorensen and Lang before Nonto equalised at the start of the second half with a soft shot that beat Norris. Sadie came on and made a typical Sadie nuisance of himself and earned a penalty in the 92nd minute, which Lang put away. And it looked on for an unlikely win, but Norris again was beaten by a poor shot from Aronson, and before he missed an absolute sitter to win it at the death. The game in particular exposed Pack and Norris in particular at this level, with a lot of the blame seeming to go Towler's way in this and the coming matches. Ogilvie also had a shocking first half, but as we know, he went on to be some fans' player of the season. So Phil, what did we learn from that game? Obviously, we had that awful start to the season where we had 7 very, very, very hard games in a row, of which we got 3 or 4 points from them. What did we learn from that very first game that continues throughout the season?
Well, the first thing we learned was that our recruitment wasn't quite up to scratch. We sort of went in with a lot of players in that game who looked slightly underprepared for the season ahead. Obviously, some of them got better, some of them didn't. I think one of the things that I particularly learned was watching Shaughnessy and Towler in the middle. And the thing that I learned from there particularly was, and it's something I banged on about quite a lot, is that Towler needs to play alongside someone who's going to coax him through the game. Because watching the highlights again, some of his sort of positional sense and decision making were well off. I think off of that game, we all looked at Ogilvie and thought, as you say, we looked at him and thought, yeah, I think this is a step too far for him, because he was quite exposed by Silvera down that side, and he just looked like a rabbit in the headlights. So the fact that he turned it around as the season went on was quite something. We learnt that Marlon Pack, whilst he hasn't got the legs, has certainly got the vision for a good pass. He played this fantastic sort of reverse pass into the box for our first goal. And at this point, we thought Sorensen was the answer to all our prayers, as he took the ball, his back to goal, swiveled, and absolutely blasted it into the net. And I was thinking, God, we found a gem here. He's gonna have a cracking season. So we learnt that. Yeah, we learnt that Callum Lang knows how to take a penalty. I think the highlight of that was an interview with Patrick Bamford afterwards, and he said, obviously, Callum Lang looked very confident the way he sort of just dinked the ball down the middle. Patrick Bamford said he went up to Lang as he put the ball on the spot and said, "I've missed a few in front of this end." And apparently Lang looked to him and just went, "Well, you're not me, are you?" And then promptly put it away. So yeah, very much a mixed bag, I think.
Yeah, I think so. As we saw throughout the season, that we had to adapt, and we had to adapt really, really quickly. And it's interesting. So something I saw in the press today from Mousinho is he was explaining why Kamara didn't have the season that he envisaged him having, is because he set out just to play a particular way this season. And I think those very early games showed him that he literally had to rip it up. And then I think they went to the high, the 4 at the front, high pressing game instead, basically to get the ball away from our goal as quickly as possible, because we clearly couldn't cope with some of the better teams in this division. But as we see, I think we took quite a few points off of the top 6 as it goes along. So yeah, thanks for that, Phil. So we'll rattle through August. Next game was Pompey 0, Luton Town 0. It was a very dull game. Their keeper got sent off, and that was about it, apart from one decent Norris save. And then back up north, Middlesbrough 2, Pompey 2. Sadie at the double, first goal of the season from a Lang cross. And he got his second after a terrible mix-up between the keeper and another defender that gave Sadie a tap into an empty net. But as we saw a lot this season, Pompey couldn't hang on, with Borough getting a 90th minute penalty when Moxon tried to piggyback onto Latte Lat. For fuck's sake, Moxon. Pompey 1, Sunderland 3 next. Some pretty awful defending from Pompey, and even Sunderland scored the only goal we got. And then on to September, Pompey 0, West Brom 3. Another home thumping, the Baggies scoring 56 seconds from a throw, and it was plain sailing for them from there. Burnley 2, Pompey 1. Pompey almost gained a point, but there was late heartbreak again. Lang got Pompey in front, but Sarmiento curled in an equaliser. And in the 94th minute, Brownhill trickled a shot into the corner past Norris. Fuck's sake, Brownhill. Pompey 0, Sheffield United 0. A tight-fought draw with the only appearance of the season for Farrell, Jamie, who looked quite good, only never to be seen again. October, Stoke 6, Pompey 1. We all remember that game. Luckily, we were all watching it from home. Just a horrible night, and the game which ended Will Norris's career. Well, certainly at Pompey. Pompey did equalise with Murphy laying it on a plate for O'Mahony for the first of many of his assists this season, but the implosion was swift and definite. Cannon blew Pompey away with 4 goals, and it was 5-1 inside an hour. Easily Pompey's worst performance in many years. Pompey 1, Oxford 1 then. Sorensen scuffs an early pen, and then the Murphy-O'Mahony combination strikes in the second half, but Marlon Pack lost the ball in midfield, and Oxford broke to equalise. Fuck's sake, Marlon. QPR 1, Pompey 2. The first 3 points of the campaign, and I was there. Off to a bad start as sweeper keeper Schritt tried to head a through ball away, but it fell to a QPR player who lobbed it back in. Pompey hit back through Potts after great work from Lamb, and it was Lang who won the game from the spot after he was fouled. QPR fashioned some half-decent chances in reply, but Pompey hung on for the vital first win of the season. So we didn't know it was going to be one of very few away wins of the season as it happened, but it was pretty hard fought. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was a hard-fought game, but I mean, at the time, QPR were they were on a downer, weren't they? They weren't. They were going to be relegation candidates with us. And I mean, it's one of those games where both teams were equally bad, but we were just slightly less bad than the opposition. So, but I think it just highlighted how important Callum Lang was going to be for the season, winning his penalty, getting the assist. And yeah, it wasn't such a brilliant game to write home about. It was just all about the win, really, and possibly raised our hopes that we could actually compete at this level, although it was a rare error from Schmidt for the goal, who kind of headed it out straight into belly and he lobbed them in. But away from home, I don't think we've won there in about 14 visits or something like that. So to actually get a win, especially considering the kind of the people we had played in and around that game who were very good, this was probably one of the teams we would hope to beat or at least take points off. Then it was a long overdue win, but yeah, it was short lived, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was the start of October was the start of the 4 winnable games, wasn't it? So obviously we got absolutely mullered at Stoke. Didn't really capitalise against Oxford at home, and then obviously away to QPR, we were desperate for that first win because we were expecting to get it at maybe Stoke or Oxford, but as it was, we had to do it at QPR. I think it demonstrated just how clever Lang is, the way he took the ball and knocked it past his defender, who had no option but to take him down. And as you said, Phil, he knows how to take a penalty. I don't believe he's missed one, has he, this season? Bishop has, but I don't think Lang has he?
No, Lang and Sorensen have missed one, haven't they? I think. Sorry, not Lang. Bishop and Sorensen have missed them.
As you said, sorry, Phil. It's he knows how to put it away. So between him and Bishop next season, I reckon, to whoever tries to score the most from the spot. So yeah, absolutely delighted with that win. Like I said, we weren't going to know that it was going to only one of 3 throughout the whole season, but it was looking good for Pompey, who'd got their first win. So off to Cardiff the next game. Cardiff 2, Pompey 0. I think you commented on this, Jamie. It was a fantastic finish from Poole, but in the wrong net. But then a Robinson poacher's finish from a corner saw Pompey hit rock bottom in the league. Honourable mention for Archer, who kept the score down after he replaced the injured Smith, who collided with the goalpost. And then another home game, Pompey 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Ogilvie scores from a corner to start and give Pompey hope. But it was won by an absolute worldie from Michael Smith from 30 yards, which was possibly the best goal seen at Fratton Park this season. We can argue about that later. On to November, Hull City 1, Pompey 1. João Pedro scored to give Pompey that sinking feeling once again, despite Lang's best efforts in the first half. But an early equaliser from Murphy gave Pompey a real lift, and they had much the better chances, with only the bar stopping them getting a win. Off to the West Country, Plymouth 1, Pompey 0. More than decent performance from Pompey, creating two or three very good chances to score. Schmidt pulled off one of his reaction saves, but it was one long, hopeful punt that did the damage. Obafemi easily musting Paul off the ball in the box to finish. Fuck's sake, Paul. Pompey 3, Preston 1. The buzz around Fratton Park before the game was the news that Bishop was on the bench, several weeks ahead of his scheduled return, and that boost clearly inspired Pompey to their first home win of the season. Murphy smacked in a long-range effort, and Ogilvie finished it far post from a corner, which can be a theme throughout the season. Nerves jangled with a soft Preston equaliser before Bishop made his entrance. And wouldn't you know it, when Lang had his legs taken away in the box, up stepped that man Bishop to score from the spot. Absolute scenes. Swansea City 2, Pompey 2. Richie started off the scoring with his first goal as a Pompey player, and Murphy doubled the lead, but an Ogilvie own goal gave Swansea away back into the game. Swansea dominated the second half and pulled one back after hitting the bar twice in 5 seconds. And a point was earned for Pompey by Schmidt, who made an astonishing one-handed save. Save of the season for me, without doubt. So I'd like to raise a toast to Schmidt. Raise your glasses.
Cheers.
Toast to Schmidt.
You're Schmidt.
I needed that because I'm starting to run out of... Right, December. Pompey 3, Bristol City 0. Pompey's pressing game was up and running. Lang, Bishop and Murphy causing absolute havoc. Bishop then Murphy scored with Lang to round off Pompey's best home win to date, and we were off the bottom. Pompey 0, Norwich 0. Very dull game, a couple of half-decent chances for both sides, but Norwich were christened Snorwich after their laboured play from the back. Derby 4, Pompey 0. A walk in Pride Park for Derby. Pompey didn't lay a glove on them all game, and Pack rounded off the scoring for Derby. Fuck's sake, Marlon. Now, Jamie, Pompey 4, Coventry 1. As bad as Pompey were against Derby, they thrashed Frank Lampard's Coventry TM, with Lang scoring 4 goals. It could have been a very different result. Coventry scored first and then had a great one-on-one chance and really should have made it 2, but Schmidt stood tall and blocked the shot. Lang then started his one-man mission, firing in from a corner to equalise. Then he fired in from a tight angle after beating his man to a long ball. And then in the second half, he nodded in from a corner after a Bishop shot was palmed out. And after a Bishop shot was palmed out straight to Lang, he tapped it into the roof of the net. Quite incredible performance and result. Again, another toast. Callum Lang. Foursome.
Callum Lang.
Thank you very much. Jamie, this is your game. Take us through it, my man.
Well, I mean, I think you've just done it magnanimously. So what I think that I've probably got this wrong given my quiz history, but I believe that was our 4th win of the season. We'd just lost 4-0 to Derby before that. So 4 plus 4 is 8. So I've got 8 words to sum up that match, which is Callum Lang, Callum Lang, Callum Lang, Callum Lang.
Very good, very good.
What a performance! What a performance from that man. He was just on fire. I think is it Norman Bassett? I don't know how you pronounce his name. He scored, and I thought it was going to be an awful game. You know, I thought this is it, another lose after the Derby game. But yeah, just Lang was quality. And a couple of things to note. Colby Bishop got 2 assists, and so did Potts, and Potts got the other 2. And just all of them were just really great passes, and just Lang was just the right place, right time, and just scoring unbelievable angles. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, it's it didn't get a perfect hat trick, did he? I don't think he scored one with his left foot, so that's a bit of a shame. He did get a header and 3 with his right, so well done to him. But yeah, I don't remember seeing someone score 4 goals at Fratton Park. It might have been. I might have seen Guy Whittingham score 4 goals back in the day. I know he got a couple of 4s when he was that season. He scored 50-odd goals, but I think it's
maybe.
Yeah, you could possibly. I know he scored a few hat tricks, but it's probably the best single player performance I've seen for probably 20 or 30 years. I think quite easily at any level to score 4 goals in one game. And like you say, Jamie, we were really worried because if they'd have got that one-on-one chance to go 2-0, I don't think they would have succumbed so easily. Well done to Callum for really putting them to the sword. So we go on to a couple more games in December before we go into the new year. So Watford 2, Pompey 1. Zach Swanson, of all people, scored Pompey's goal, and then Watford were given a penalty when the foul was clearly 2 yards outside the box before being done by a 94th minute winner. Fuck's sake, ref. Bristol City 3, Pompey 0. Another game I was at. Bizarrely, my son wanted to stay right to the end, purely because he knew he was 3 hours away from Pompey. The game was over in 20 minutes, probably some of the worst defending you'll see. Very ugly. And taxi for Silvera. Into January. Pompey 4, Swansea 0. Another 4 goals. Fair to say Swansea had too much of Hogmanay and they were all over the place. Even Towler got a goal and Pompey get a great start to 2025. Sunderland 1, Pompey 0. Sunderland got an early goal and were well in control. Pat got a red card because he couldn't run anymore. But with 10 men, Pompey did okay. Atkinson looked quite good, though. But again, we have to say, fuck's sake, Marlon. Blackburn 3, Pompey 0. A tale of 3 penalties, none that were given. Bishop was pushed or pulled twice. And Lang all had great shouts, but the ref was having absolutely none of it. Probably the worst refereeing we saw all season. Pompey 2, Middlesbrough 1. Borough took the lead when Pack dived into a tackle in midfield, forgetting he was playing in defence. But his mate Richie saved him with 2 goals, both really well taken. He also nearly scored for 35 yards and a one-on-one with the keeper. Richie was on fire. So we'll have a toast to Matt Richie, please. Raise your glasses. Richie. Pompey 3, Stoke City 1. Lang learnt to fly in this game, launching himself from a push and won a penalty to start the scoring. Bishop converted it top bins. Lang then nodded over the keeper to make it 2, and far post Ogilvie got another from a corner, and Pompey were out of the bottom 3. Up to West Brom 5, Pompey 1. This was getting a bit silly now. As good as Pompey were at home, they were utter dog shit away. Not one of Schmidt's better games, though. The Aussie kid got a consolation. Pompey 0, Millwall 1. Pompey at home, so it must be a win, okay? No. Once Millwall scored, it never looked like we would get one back. Into February, Pompey 0, Burnley 0, a game of few chances. Pompey probably had the best with Richie and Bishop, but a useful point nonetheless. Terrific save by Dazelle. Sheffield United 2, Pompey 1. Murphy tore into the Blades, creating 3 great chances with Ogilvie scoring 1. But the misses both he and Lang had from 6 yards meant only one thing. Sheffield United were always going to nick the winner, and they did, even though Chris Wilder himself said his side had been outplayed the whole match. Pompey 2, Cardiff 1. Murphy, the main man again. His pass to Bishop started the scoring, and his corner allowed Shocklersey to double the lead. It was a nervy last hour, though, after Cardiff got one back. Pompey hanging on, though, and respect for that Ogilvie tackle at the end. Oxford 0, Pompey 2. Another away win. Dazelle scores a worldie from 2 yards, and then Oxford create 3 chances to score, but thankfully missed them all. Pompey won the game with a mighty headed through ball from Devlin, and Omani slipped it past the keeper to give Pompey another vital 3 points. Pompey 2, QPR 1. 3 wins in a row, and Murphy continued his red-hot February form with a curling shot from 25 yards. He then stole the ball and set up Richie at the far post. QPR got one back, but it was too late. Pompey completing a fab February. And cheers to Murphy for his fab February. I think he got at least 5 or 6 assists in that month.
Go on,
Well done, Murphy. I think I'm getting a bit drunk. March, Luton 1, Pompey 0. Awful game played on an awful pitch. Pack tried to score another own goal, which led to their winner. And Ogilvie missed a great chance to get a point. Otherwise, just dreadful. Now on to the surprise of the season. Pompey 1, Leeds 0. The champions-elect came to town on Sunday, and with it being on telly, it would be a humiliating Pompey loss. Right? Wrong. Leeds had a good shout for a penalty when Richie hooked the legs of James when attempting a clearance, and that was followed by a terrific double save from Schmidt. Pompey were holding Leeds at bay for much of the first half. In the second 45, Leeds squandered a great chance when Pirro missed after great work by Solomon, but the unthinkable happened just after that. A direct pass by Ogilvie behind the Leeds defence saw Bishop beat the onrushing Meslier to the ball, and it bounced in off a post to give Pompey the nil. Firpo then danced through, but another great save by Schmidt stopped him equalising. And then in injury time, Leeds piled everyone up for a corner, but the flicked header they gained was again well saved by Schmidt, and Pompey were now 10 points above the relegation zone and surely safe. Pompey 1, Plymouth 2. Typical of Pompey season that after the great Leeds result, the team put in this kind of performance against Plymouth. Hardy set up Bundu and then scored himself. Pompey had chances after Saranola was sent off, and a rocket went in from Alshish, but it was far too late. Preston 2, Pompey 1. The game that made me the most angry this season. Pompey played Preston off the park first half, but failed to score. Preston then brought on some muscle second half and scored from a free kick. Bishop got a deserved equaliser, but then Pompey threw it away with awful defending once again. Preston hadn't won in 6 and then didn't win again all season. I really hope they go down next season. Pompey 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. An early bit of class from Murphy and Bishop, the former scoring from the latter's flick, and that was it. Pompey needed a dull, tight game to grind out another 3 points, and they got one. Into April. Millwall 2, Pompey 1. Another dull game. How on earth do Millwall keep getting near the playoffs every season? As usual, Pompey do well to get back in the game with another Dazelle stunner from 3 yards this time. But you know what happens next? Pompey fail to clear from a corner and Millwall win it with another header. Coventry 1, Pompey 0. Pompey lose it in the 95th minute with Patterson after a desperate battling performance to try and get a vital point. Utter heartbreak. For fuck's sake, Frank. Now, Tim, this is your game. Thanks for your patience, mate. We're nearly there. Pompey 2, Derby 2. A must-win game or a must-not-lose game?
You don't know what you're doing.
How many did you actually have before we actually came on air?
No, I'm fully lucid, I can assure you. So, Tim, Pompey start well and get a penalty when Richie went through on goal and was taken down by the keeper as he was about to tap it into an empty net. The keeper should have walked, but was given a yellow instead of a red. It was inevitable he would then go and save Bishop's effort. Harness then hit the bar and post with a cross, but Derby took the early lead in the second half from a header after some poor defending by all in blue. There was desperation around Fratton Park now, but that was eased by Atkinson scoring from a corner. But that feeling returned not long after when Atkinson turned the ball past Schmidt himself from a cross, and it looked very bleak from Pompey. The last 10 minutes, Pompey pumped balls into the box, and thankfully Atkinson found himself again on the end of one and guided it into the bottom corner. Massive relief all round Fratton Park, and after results elsewhere, 4 more points would probably keep Pompey up. There you go, Tim. What was your view of the game?
Yeah, I think this is one of those games where I think if you go back a few games before, we'd had the win against Leeds, and I think Blackburn you said as well, but then there's like 4 other defeats in there. So that kind of momentum that we had throughout February really started to feel like it was disappearing, and the sort of ground was opening up beneath us a little bit, really. And so it was such an important game. Obviously, we got stuffed 4-0 up there earlier in the season, as you've already said. You then sort of look at the team sheet for it and see Matt Clark on there. Marcus Harness as well was another one. You're thinking, well, obviously Marcus Harness is going to be a absolute pain in the arse against us. There's going to be one of his 6 brilliant games a season was going to be against us. And then it was really. And like you say, I couldn't believe that the goalkeeper stayed on. I think in that situation, you should almost be given the choice of going like, well, it can either be a red card, but you got a free kick on the edge of the box. I think that would be fantastic. I'd rather have played that amount of the game against, or maybe I'm just saying that because we missed the penalty. But yeah, it was one of those things. It felt like the game was so open. It was just felt frantic. It was sort of end to end, and anything could happen. I think when it kind of 2-1 down, it was injury time, wasn't it? We equalised as well. But yeah, Atkinson, the relief with everybody was just almost palpable, really, wasn't it? You could sort of feel the relief in it. Thank God we haven't been beaten there. It felt like if we'd been beaten there, were we then going to be sort of on that downward slope and just get sucked back into it and never out of it again? So yeah, I think Atkinson's written himself into a little bit of folklore in that game, really, with those 2 and an own goals. Not necessarily come out of there ecstatic, but just more sheer utter relief than anything, I think, that game.
Yeah, when Atkinson scored the own goal to make it 2-1, I felt sick, absolutely sick. I thought we were in massive trouble.
Yeah,
because of the run we'd been on, as you say. We'd had that 95th minute loss at Coventry a few days before. Like I said at the start, was it a must-win game or a must-not-lose game? In the end, we didn't lose it, which was great. And as you said, the relief at the end when we did finally, get the equaliser and manage to hang on.
Yeah, we definitely rode a bit of luck in that game. There was a bit, I watched the highlights again a little bit earlier, and there was a moment when Harness, absolutely amazing shot, and went over Schmidt, sort of somehow seemed to hit the underside of the bar, then the inside of the post, and then bounce out. So yeah.
Well, Phil won't have
had a few moments in that game.
Phil won't have it's a shot. It was definitely a cross, and I having
it was a big punt.
having watched the highlights as you did, it was a cross. It was a far post cross.
Yeah,
and he overcooked it, and it looped over Schmidt and hit bar and post. So yeah, we were a bit lucky, but
good fighting spirit still.
Absolutely, yeah, and we needed that. And then we went on to Norwich, and all hell broke loose. Norwich 3, Pompey 5. Was it a good time to play Norwich? Well, yes, it was. Pompey thumped the Canaries with Bishop getting his perfect hat-trick. Richie and Paul completing the scoring for the Blues and pretty much securing championship football. And also a bit of payback for all the fans who travelled up and down the country this season and seen some absolutely desperate defeats. So I'd like you to raise your glasses to the Pompey fans, please, because we've all seen some absolute dross this season, home and away. And to all of those who keep going away, well done to you. And we're in the home straight. So Pompey won, Watford 0, another team with nothing to play for, but they put up more fight than Norwich. Bishop scored on the line with the back of his head, and Sadie came out to dish some justice to Barr. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Pompey 1, a scruffy goal and a first goal for Harvey Blair was about all that happened in this end-of-season affair. Lots of bananas and beach balls on show, but no food to eat, Phil, apparently.
Very true.
Very true. Pompey 1, Hull City 1, the final game of the season. Hull needed a point to stay up, and we gave it to them, really. We were quite generous, I thought.
I agree.
Don't think we really tried to win that game too hard. Abu Kamara got his great send-off, well, second send-off, because obviously we clapped him at the end of last season as well, as did the Pompey squad. And that is my slightly erratic sum up of the season. Thank you for all your contributions as well. What I'd like now is, I've done enough talking for a while, so I'd like you all to give your summations of the season, please. Reece, would you like to? I'm going to do it in picture order, so it's going to be Reece, Jamie, Tim, and Phil. So Reece, can you give us your potted season, please?
I've got to say, it's been a really good season. I mean, I think after the first 7 or 8 games, where we thought we were absolutely nailed on for relegation, for the Mourinho to actually realise we needed to change the formation, and then for the club to adapt, to the players to adapt, I think it is amazing. And I think I don't think we can really underestimate how good our recruitment has been. Yes, Silvera and Sorensen weren't great, but to be fair, the fact I think there's a few things that defined our season, but the fact that the fans did not turn, which could have been very easy considering the first few games. There was all the fans were together, home and away as well. I mean, the home fans were just absolutely phenomenal, fantastic away following, but the fact that the season was blighted with so many injuries, yet we managed to stay above, finish above some really, really strong championship teams who have paid a lot of money for a lot of players to get that in and achieve what we have on the lowest wage bill of the season, I think is absolutely phenomenal. And I think if we would be having a different argument, if we got relegated, you say the recruitment wasn't good enough, didn't spend enough money, but we've spent enough money and we spent it really, really well. And I'm just so pleased that the strategy that the club have clearly deployed it is working wonders. And I think it just shows that with you get some good people in the right places, which we clearly have, then I think you can achieve a lot. And I think coming back, Colby Bishop coming back, I think was a huge kind of turning point in the season. Considering how difficult the championship is, and we realise it's such a step up with so many physical teams. Him coming back, I don't think we would have survived without him, to be honest. But overall, you've got to be chuffed. You can't be anything but chuffed, and it was so pleasing to see the strategy say and the teams kind of stay up with 2 games to spare.
And very quickly, what was your moment of the season?
My moment of the season, I think it was Colby Bishop coming back. I really do. I think that coincided with our uptuning fortune, and I think I would say that's probably the pivotal point in the season for me.
Okay, thank you very much, mate. Jamie, all yours.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I was drunk for most of it. So I think as the quiz has highlighted,
No shame in
yeah,
that.
my memory
Absolutely
of
no
all of
shame
those.
in that.
Yeah, my memory of all of those matches is it's a positive one though. Obviously I'm delighted that we've stayed up. It wouldn't be me not to moan about the lack of investment in the squad from our disgustingly rich owners. Yeah, I would have liked to see them do more. I think come Christmas, it was proved that, or in my opinion, it was proved that we hadn't quite done enough in the recruitment, but we turned it around. And I said online the other day something that I've realised is that John Mourinho is my favourite manager since Harry Redknapp. And for me, I mean, I know that Harry splits people's opinions, but for me, Harry brought me the best football I've ever seen at the club, and so he will always hold a soft spot in my heart. And John has, he's done the same now. John's taken us up he's taken us up a division. He's kept us in the league on. He hasn't been backed. I still don't believe that we have backed that manager, and it just makes me think. Well, imagine what he might be able to do if we did back him. So I'm really hoping that the Eisners loosen, or just take the reins off just slightly, or just give him adequate funding. Imagine what he could do with adequate funding. It'd be amazing. So yeah, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the season. I thoroughly enjoyed going, staying up, and had some cracking drunken parties afterwards. Yeah, it was brilliant. I probably moaned quite a lot on the podcast about. I tried to play bad cop on here whenever I can, and I'm just
And
delighted.
we welcome it, mate. We welcome it.
And I'm just delighted that the club, the team, the manager, everybody involved has proven me wrong and shut me up. Well done, Paul.
And through that drunken haze, which I'm slowly joining you on.
Excellent.
Is there a moment of the season for you as well?
That's a tough one. I'm going to go. There's a lot. So I mean, obviously, I'm not going to pick the same as Reece, but that is, that's up there for all of us and probably all of our favourites. So I'll go with the Norwich game. I think that was just amazing. It was, I think you were with me at the time, Tim, just screaming, "We won 5!" We won 5. And then it was just amazing. Yeah.
Excellent, thanks, mate. Right, Tim, you're up.
Cool. Agree with a lot of what's already been said. I think overall it's been an absolutely awesome season. We were all obviously a bit worried, a couple of months in. I think that very first game with that thrill game against Leeds, I remember I was away watching cricket at the time, and but I was mainly watching the football on a phone rather than watching the cricket. And so it seems like a really exciting start, unexpected point. Yeah, I think one of the main points was, obviously, we were away on holiday, Jay, at the time, and watched that 6-1 capitulation at Stoke. And at that point, we were kind of thinking, oh my God, do you know what I mean? We've seen some of our players get torn to shreds on a few occasions. This is now a disaster sort of thing. We're thinking, God, what on earth are we going to do? So yeah, again, this is where so much credit to Mousinho for the changes that he's made. It's just been an absolutely fantastically exciting season, though, isn't it? You want some ups and downs in it, really, rather than just plenty of downs like it looked like we were going to get. And to finish where we did is just absolutely awesome, really. So I think it's going to be quite exciting to see what happens next year. I think we will possibly end up spending a little bit more than before. I think I'm able to have confidence. We've now had that year of being up. So you just hope we can push on now, for the next season. But I think there's been some brilliant developments in it. In terms of kind of a main moment, again, I think we're all going to say when Colby Bishop came back, that's going to be written in folklore for years to come. That, do you remember that day when we saw in the, whether you saw it on X or WhatsApp group or something like that he's on the bench, but come on and score was unbelievable. One of the other main things could be the sort of big change for the season, if I can't have that, or the Bishop hat trick, would be Norris being replaced by Schmid. I think that's something that I'm going to remember from this season, is what a real changer that was.
Well, I think some people could argue that was a no-brainer after Stoke,
yeah.
But
you wondered if he'd do it though, didn't you? That's the thing. Would he end up going like, no, be loyal to him? He was our keeper all last season, took us up and everything. But I think that's where Mousinho makes it difficult calls and does them well.
Yeah, I think the cracks had started well before Stoke, though. I mean, having watched all of the highlights of every single game over the last 4 or 5 days, some of the goals, like both Burnley ones, Norris should have saved both.
Yeah. But trickled in, didn't it? That second.
The second one was ridiculous. The first one, he was beaten near post, which he shouldn't do. His positioning was awful. So I think the cracks had begun to be evident there, and so Schmidt's arrival was on the cards anyway. But Stoke away absolutely cemented it. Cheers, mate. Jamie, I'm sorry, Phil. I don't know whether you've got much left, but I'm sure you can bring your own particular slant to it, mate. So off you go.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot more than what everyone's in, sort of a combination of different things, really. It's been a roller coaster of a season, I felt. I think there's been some huge highs, some just amazing. The phrase limbs gets used quite a lot, but there's been some moments in the Fratton end where all hell's broken loose when something's happened, and it's been really nice bringing together of people, to be honest, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. There's been some frustrating moments where we just don't seem to learn from the errors we've been making. With Jamie on the fact that I'd love to see what Mousinho could do with a proper competitive budget. I think there were moments where we got lucky. I think we got lucky with a couple of decisions that we've made in terms of our dealings in the transfer market. But then I think, all credit's got to go to the people, the recruitment team. I think with the coaching team as well, the fact that, I mean, we looked doomed at one point, and the fact that we stuck with it, and also credit to the board for sticking with Mousinho, because I think everyone that finished below us, I'm fairly certain, changed managers during the season, and it did them absolutely no good whatsoever. So I'm excited about what we're going to do next season. I'm apprehensive because I think the division's going to be much tougher, and so I think we need to be tougher. So yeah, bit of everything really. I bet it wouldn't be Pompey if it wasn't like that.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure lots of clubs say the same about their teams, but and we all say our team's special. From where we've come from where we've been over the last 15 years, and the story that we've had, it's a bit of a shame that Eisner is only now waking up to the idea that he could have had a documentary and he could have been well ahead of Wrexham. You'd have thought a man with his pedigree. in entertainment, and apparently when he was at Disney greenlit quite a number of the major films that turned their story around, that he would have seen an opportunity for him and his family to star in a no holds barred documentary. But of course now everybody's done it. He's jumped on the bandwagon. We'll have to see if that bears fruit.
Having met most of his family, I'm not sure whether it'd be particularly entertaining.
It's not going to be like the Osbournes then.
And in his defence, he is 112.
Yeah.
Oh, one. I was going to say, Scott. One thing I do was to sort of redress the balance from your.
Was I a bit hard on Marlon?
You were a bit hard on Marlon. I'm gonna have just a good word for my my near neighbour Marlon.
Yeah.
He stood up when someone needed to, and the fact that he's not a centre back, he will probably be the first person to admit he's not a centre back. Yeah,
should
he
we
did
toast
it
to
with,
Marlon?
I think we should toast Marlon.
Toast to Marlon. Toast to Marlon. Yeah, captain, fantastic. I think a lot of the squad have nothing but great things to say about him. So yeah, you're right. I was a bit hard on him, but he was making Ricks left, right, and centre. So if we have a look at the final table, so we finished 16th, not 12th, with 54 points, not 53. I think the two people, I think Coventry and Bristol, who snuck into the Championship, I think that was the lowest total for quite some time. I think you had to at least have 75 to get into the playoffs in previous seasons. So it's quite an odd league, the way that the points are spread out. And of course, 52 was the absolute minimum to stay up in previous seasons, and it's down to 49, with Hull just scraping it on goal difference. So we've only got to get another 10 points, and we're comfortably in the top 10 for next season. And you could argue that is doable because of our shocking away form. We only had to turn a number of those losses into draws and one or two of the draws into wins, and you've got the 8, 9, 10 points that you need. So yeah, very exciting. So obviously people are panicking about Mousinho going to Sheffield Wednesday, which is the current online furore. He will stay. He'll stay for at least a couple of years, won't he? I think. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I think he will, and I think the fact that, from what he said, if you believe everything he says in the press, the fact that he was very complimentary about the Islanders, saying he could have been sacked and he would have understood it, but he's adored here now. He's had 2 seasons where he has got more out of the team than the wages would suggest, and you got to say actually even more so. So he will get better and better, and I think he would be, unless somebody big came in. But then, even then, I thought, why would you move? You absolutely loved here. You're developing your career. You're getting support. You're absolutely in with the owners. Why would he move?
I think I'd also like to mention Harley and Raymond as well, because I'm not sure if one of them is his assistant, but it seems to be the three of them that are always working on things. And there's the guy with the tablet on the touchline who Mousinho is always referring to throughout the game and checking things and stuff like that, which with their data that they get all the way through the match these days. So I'd like to mention those two as well, because it clearly is a team coaching effort, and I think Raymond's been a bit longer in the coaching game than Harley, but they're all three of them are really quite new to it, aren't they? So for them to do what they've done in the last 24 36 months is quite incredible, really. They've taken a very average League One club up to 16th in the Championship in 2 years, and I think that's an amazing amazing achievement.
I think Harley's officially his assistant, and
right.
Zesh Raymond's job title is I think it's first team development coach, which would suggest that he has more responsibility with the younger players. And if that's the case, then absolute, doff with the cap to him, because some of the younger players have come on this season and matured on the pitch has been quite impressive. Definitely great coaching team, and let's hope the team doesn't get split up. We don't want any of them getting ideas to move on and take over the reins of the club themselves.
No. So as you mentioned beforehand, the retained list has been released just before we started recording. Yengi's gone. The other three weren't too much of a shock, really. But Swanson and who else has been given another year?
Dazelle.
Dazelle, which is good because his son goes to my son's school up in Waterlooville. So
That was the main reason. That was the main reason for his extra year, I believe.
well, it was a couple of Fridays ago. He was forced into a kickabout with about 60 kids for an hour after school. So because he could obviously do that because he wasn't going to be playing again for a few weeks, so he couldn't risk some 8 or 9-year-old kicking him in the shins. So he's got that to look forward to over the next however many weeks until the summer holiday. So good luck to him. But yeah, I think he's deserved it. We were all quite harsh and critical of Dazelle, weren't we, at the start of the season? I think we all have to put our hands up and say, what the hell do we buy him for? But he's been pretty consistent and pretty reliable, hasn't he? I think the story of Yengi is probably, and I don't know if everyone agrees, is that the problem is that he keeps going away with Australia and not coming back fit. And you can't pay a player's wages for him to be fit for a third of the season because he keeps flying halfway around the world.
Also for his development, he was brought in when we were a challenging League One club, and in my humble opinion, he wasn't given enough opportunities to cement a place in the squad. When he was given those opportunities, to me, he didn't set League One alight. So we play one up front. So Colby Bishop's our star man. If Yengi's got anything about him as a footballer and any ambition, then he's going to want to go to. He's going to want to go off somewhere else where he can shine and he can get some more games. And so I genuinely think it's the best decision for the club and for Yengi. We're probably going to try and sign another striker, an up and coming striker. And we've got Sadie, who's proved he can do a job, and I think he's won the fans over as well with his work rate alone. And the other Australian new boy as well. We've got him. So
Waddingham,
Waddingham, thanks. So we've got it's just a sensible decision for me.
I think for Yengi as well, for him in his career, he's reached a bit of a crossroads. He's 26. I'm not saying. I mean, God, I wish I was still 26. But he's not a young. He's not such a young prospect anymore. And looking at his career, he's never at any level he's played in. He's never got into double figures. So he's actually got to go and achieve something now. Because if he doesn't, that's kind of it for him. I sort of imagine that wherever he's off, he'll still be singing his own song in his head. His 7 years in League One song, and he'll have that.
Yeah. Well, and he'll also have Peterborough away. He won. Let's not forget he won us the game, and that was a crucial win for us. So if he takes anything, take Peterborough away in his heart. Tim, anyone you want to give a special mention to before we go on to some of our awards?
Special mention to?
Yeah. Who's giving you the hots this season?
I suppose it's all going to be pretty. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I've enjoyed some of the performances I've seen. I'm not sure.
In a blue shirt, obviously.
Yeah. I guess probably going to be stuff we've probably going to slightly regurgitate lots of stuff I've already said, really. But I mean, obviously, Josh Murphy's been out just absolutely awesome all season, hasn't he? Really. We probably haven't mentioned Freddie Potts enough. I'd have thought I thought he had a cracking season overall. I think he's sort of developed well with us. It could be interesting to see what happens to him going off to West Ham. They're kind of like lower half of the table, aren't they? I think in the Premier League, so they're not really sort of tearing it up or anything. So is he going to be able to get in there? That'll be interesting. Yeah, probably. Also probably Matt Ritchie. I know we have mentioned him throughout the podcasts, but he's another one. When we were poor at the start of the season, he seemed like one of those players we wondered why we'd brought him in, but towards the end of it, he was outstanding. And last one I'm just going to mention there, I'm going to back up saying Christian Sadie's won the fans over. I've been a bit of a fan of his the whole season, really. Right from when he scored those goals. Was it away at Middlesbrough we said at the start of the season?
Yeah.
I've always thought kind of he'd hopefully get some more chances and everything. And the attitude that he came in, I know it's the last game of the season. There wasn't an awful lot for us to play for, but I thought he was brilliant in that game against Hull, to be honest with you. I thought that some of his little tricks and turns and everything were just absolutely brilliant, and the way he smashed that ball in for the equaliser was just great. So yeah, there's a few moments for you.
He started that at Watford, Sadie.
Yeah.
That when he came off the bench against Watford, for us to see that game out, he was a man mountain. You were not getting the ball off him.
Yeah.
Just to say as well about what you said about Potts there. I mean, like, even if he doesn't go to West Ham, I think another low level Premiership club, like Manchester United or Tottenham might pick him up.
Very well done. Very well done. Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to the Scummers, is he?
Yeah.
No. But we've got that. We've got our eye on. There's been a lot of noise since probably Sheffield Wednesday game that we're looking at that Palace midfielder. Is he 19, 20, under 21s player who's supposed to be pretty tasty? So I think we've got our eye on 2 or 3, maybe 4 really good loans for next season. I hope we do buy a striker. I hope we don't get a loan in to back him. I think it would be good for Bishop to have some serious competition. I mean, his physical fitness is astonishing after having open heart surgery. 3 months before he came back and he barely missed a minute because he couldn't. He was our main man. He couldn't go off because we kept having Yengi and Omani not fit. So amazing ability for him to keep going, physical strength and stamina. So, gentlemen, I've got 4 nominated shouts for categories. I mean, you can throw in your own categories wherever you like afterwards. Let's first of all, we'll go in the same order: Reece, Jamie, Tim, and Phil. First of all, player of the season, please. You must have made your mind up by now, Reece, surely.
I have, and you've got to say Josh Murphy, but I think it'd be Josh Murphy, Ogilvy, and Bishop, but purely because I gave Ogilvy the most improved player award over the season, which he did. But I was just like you, I was watching some of the games, and it just highlighted how many cock-ups he made. But then again, also highlighted how many games I thought Murphy was quite average. So, but yeah, I think you've got to give it to Murphy.
Jamie?
Murphy, no doubt.
Good, Tim?
Could be a clean sweep here. I think 21 goal assists, was it? We said 14 assists and 7 goals. It's got to be Josh Murphy.
What do they call it now? It's goal. It's goal involvements, isn't it? He's a 21 goal involvements. It's kind of an American thing, isn't it? Yeah, that's what they say now. Yeah. Phil?
Clean sweep. It couldn't be anyone else, really. I think he's been fantastic. And he's a thoroughly nice man as well. Poor bloke at last game of the season was down to his pants and was still posing for photos with people. Last man to leave the pitch. Lovely bloke, fantastic player.
That after-season party must have been amazing, Phil.
Yeah, yes.
Well, actually, it's not a clean sweep because I voted.
Here we go.
There's always one.
I've got to go with what I voted in the Chichester Supporters Club, and I voted for Ogilvy, so I'm going for Ogilvy. Yeah.
Okay. But now you've watched back every single game yesterday. I want you to reevaluate your. Because I love reevaluate your life. Yeah.
I'm not being bullied by you, Jamie.
It's just disgraceful. I love Ogilvy, and I would agree. Definitely most improved player. I'm a huge fan of him last season.
Funny you should mention that.
He was shite sometimes,
okay,
especially at the beginning of the season.
But that's my choice. So 4-1, well done. So goal of the season, Reece.
I am personally going for Callum Lang against Leeds at the opening game of the season. That's my goal of the season.
Oh, good shout. Jamie, can you remember any?
I'm going to go with what's it? Riley Towler in the pre-season friendly absolute stonker. Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Well, I haven't.
Yeah. We know what the answer really is, but I'm just going for that to be difficult so that someone else can say Josh Murphy.
Tim?
Well, we have had a few good goals this season, but I think one of the ones that's sort of completely etched in my mind is when Bishop scored the winner against Leeds at home. I mean, again, Scott's Player of the Year puts an absolutely beautiful ball over from the left-hand channel, just curls it inside, and it looked like it was all happening a little bit in slow motion, really, didn't it? But he kind of just flicks it past, just goes into the net and everything. What a goal and a moment that was for us all. That's mine.
Yeah, and it wasn't a long, hopeful punt at all by Ogilvy, was it? It was a direct ball.
As I said, it was a perfect little ball over the top from the left channel.
Thank you. Phil?
So I've been changing my mind over and over again during this game, whether it was said the Callum Lang goal, which technically was absolutely superb because he did everything right there. It was a beautifully executed goal, and sort of quite underrated. But that said, the for a number of reasons, the Josh Murphy goal from that far out, the fact that the winger man was was telling us that he was outside the box because it was a tactical decision because they didn't want him anywhere near the ball. And then the absolute scenes as we all bundled him when it went in. So for that reason and that reason alone, he deserves an award.
I agree with you, Phil. That's my goal of the season as well. Although the one against the first one where he hit it quite low from the cleared corner was a belter as well. So, but no, the one where he curled it right in the corner from the left hand side. Jamie, you want to say something?
Yeah, so special mentions, I think. Bashish's goal was sublime. That was real peach. And also Callum Lang's second goal against Coventry. The angle, the way that went in, though, they're stunning goals, yeah.
And I've got another one I wanted to add to that, which was Rob Atkinson's equaliser, which wasn't the most technically cultured goal, but the man could barely walk. He looked like me after about 4 or 5 pints, and he somehow managed to get the ball. Apparently, been throwing up before this as well, a bit like me after 4 pints. It was just that sort of. It's the bit in Monty Python, isn't it, where he has his legs chopped off and he's still going, and it was like I'm gonna get an equaliser, and
barely a scratch.
Yes.
Well, it's probably your illness is down to the homebrew cider you keep quaffing, Phil, I think. So performance of the season. I'm not sure if I meant individual performance or team performance, but let's go with individual performance, Reece.
Well, it's actually the same. It's the same game, and I am going for Josh Murphy and Pompey playing Sheffield United away, where we actually lose. I thought that was the performance of the season, both from him and also from the team. The irony being, we got 0 points.
Jamie?
Colby Bishop, Norwich. I'm going to take the easy one. Sorry, lads.
Good shout. I forgot there were so many. Go on, Tim.
I was going to say, that was both of the ones that instantly sprang to mind for me as well. Individual performances of the season. Again, I might just say kind of like, I know it's probably because it's fresh in the memory and I haven't watched every single game back in the last 24 hours or anything like that, but I absolutely loved the way Christian Sadie came on against Hull, and absolutely loved some of his kind of battling performance and his little tricks and flicks and the goal he scored. So
the rainbow,
whilst I agree with the others,
turn as well.
Exactly. Like I wasn't expecting that. I was absolutely loving it. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Sadinho.
Scott, you're sat right in front of me to the left, so you must have been right by Sadie when he won the ball and then turned round to the north stand and went, yeah! Like everyone went,
well, I'm not far away from it, but I remember. Yeah, it was a tackle, wasn't it, right on the touchline?
Come on,
ball and man with a few minutes to go, and rolled the crowd up. He's good at doing that. He's part footballer, part cheerleader.
I would go for Callum Lang against Coventry because it was just ridiculous. I don't think anyone expected it. It was just one of those things that it could do no wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I mean, Lang's I think is a clear winner, but I think Atkinson against Derby, as you said, Phil, he was ill before the game. He was getting worse and worse and more crippled during the game. He just scored an own goal, and Mousinho chucked him up front so that we could literally launch balls into the 18-yard box, and manfully got his header onto one of them. As we described earlier, the relief was amazing. So that's my individual performance of the season. Rob Atkinson.
And he's not even our player. He was a lone player as well, which made it even better to see that sort of attitude from someone who is, hopefully not temporarily with us, but quite possibly.
Yeah, I mean, we are overstocked in the central defender area, but then, as we've seen this season, you can never have enough because most of them have been injured for at least 3 or 4 months this season. So, and if we never see Marlon Pack in the back again, we will all be very, very delighted, as great as he is. So, the last category I've got is, I think we probably answered it already, most improved player of the season. Reece?
It's Ogilvy, isn't it?
Ogilvy, right?
Got to be.
Jamie?
Yeah, it's easy choice.
Tim?
I think it's the same again, isn't it, really? It's got to be Ogilvy.
Yep. And Phil?
No, I'm going to go for Dazelle.
Oh, okay. Well done. I'm going to go for Ogilvy as well. So I did think about putting young player of the season in there, but there's only one winner. So there's no point, really. It's got to be Devlin, isn't it? I mean, he is just such an improving player and someone that Senior obviously relies on. He comes in right wing, he comes in as a 10, comes in as a right back, comes in defensive midfield. In fact, I think he probably would have done a better job than Pack in defence, central defence. We should try him there again if in an emergency. So Devlin definitely
That'll kill his career off.
one to watch. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anyone else want to throw an odd one in before we finish up?
Just Sadie. So just Sadie again. I meant for the young player.
Yeah,
because he is still. You look at the build of the man, you forget that he's still a very young man.
22.
And he was great in that Middlesbrough game. I thought he was going to go on and have an amazing season, and sadly, he just didn't get the opportunities or didn't rise to them. But
yeah.
I'll put one into the mix.
Go on, then.
What worst refereeing decision for and against over the season?
I don't know. Well, you go first, and we'll see if you get any agreement.
Well, for us, I thought Matt Ritchie booting the Leeds defender up in the air and not getting a penalty was fantastic. Or Dazell's handball at Coventry. But against, it's either Watford penalty or Callum Lang getting wiped out by the Blackburn goalkeeper.
What about as well when they were in that, going back to the Derby game again that I was talking about earlier? I'm still convinced that the ball went out of play on the side by the north stand and curled back in again before they scored.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
that one's still.
I couldn't agree more. I was screaming my head off that the ball had gone out. So was my son, bless him, and then he was in tears when the ball went in the back of the net. It was. I mean, Swanson's positioning and defending was just awful. But anyway, we'll gloss over that. Phil, you go first before I say what mine is.
What am I going first for? Refereeing decision or?
Yes.
I disagree with Reece.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything he says.
Yeah. Mine is going to be the non-red card against Derby.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
In your review, Tim, you said about having alternatives. Unfortunately, the law of the game is very specific. If you deny a goal scoring chance, then you are given a straight red. It says it in the laws of the game.
I thought it was going to be a red. I really thought it was a red.
It should have been. It should have been. I don't know what was in the referee's report. I'd love to see it. There was only one decision there, or two decisions: penalty, red card, off your pop, and he didn't do it. And I
thought it was a red card if they don't attempt to make a play for the ball, and he didn't. And he did, by the way. I think I watched the other game the other day, and somebody attempted to get the ball, and he didn't get sent off. But this guy just didn't make any attempt. But yeah, it's still.
No, Ritchie was going to tap it into an empty net.
Yeah,
he'd licked it past the keeper. He was just about to go past the keeper and tap it into an empty net, and the keeper stuck his leg out and hooked him down.
I'm not disagreeing with you. It was just the rules.
Not going to bang on about it because it's the end of the season. But anyway, that's my worst decision of the season. Before we wrap up, does anyone want to say anything? I'd just like to say first before we finish.
You didn't actually ask me my worst decision of the season.
Sorry, Jamie. You go next then.
Unbelievable.
Mate.
My worst decision of the season was signing Sammy Silvera.
Someone had to
as a counterpoint to that, my signing of the season was Nicholas Schmidt. I think it was just an inspired bit of business because it was just it's just not an obvious decision. It just shows how spot on recruitment can be. Because who'd have thought taking a goalkeeper who's predominantly played in the second tier of Austrian football would be such a masterstroke. And I honestly believe of the players we've got, he's potentially the one who's the most likely to play in the top flight here. I think he's a superb goalkeeper. He's only going to get better.
He's a big fella as well, isn't he?
He is.
He's very tall.
I'm surprised he's not the tallest, but there we go.
No, he's the same height as Hayden Matthews. Hayden Matthews is the tallest outfield player.
Right. Okay. I'm glad you qualified that. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
So I just want to say thank you to all four of you as well for supporting this pod this season when you have done. It's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
Are you talking about our listeners now?
I don't know what I don't know what our listener is up to, but I do hope he's got a drink and getting as pissed as I am. So thank you very much, Reece. Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you very much, Tim, and thank you very much, Phil. I can't do it without you. if you don't turn up, if you don't put your interesting points and your skill and your wit and your wisdom across while we record, then this would be very, very much duller than it already is. So thank you very much from me to you. Thank you very much. You've been awesome.
Can I also just say thank you to you, Scott, for putting all the effort into kind of organising everything and sorting out all the editing and everything else, because we come on here and talk for about an hour or so, and but actually there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know about. So thank you very much for sorting all that out as well.
There is.
And let's face it, none of us would do it.
Absolutely.
Can I thank you for paying me, Scott? I think it's wonderful that you do that. And I need the money, so thank you very much for
I'm glad your
my wages.
I'm glad your appearance is down this season, because otherwise you'd be up for a rise, wouldn't you, if you completed enough? So keep keeping on, mate. Thank you very much.
Have we got a retained list at the end of this?
Yes, it's bad news. You all have to come back next season. Thank you.
Oh.
So, to our listener, thank you very much for listening this season. We all hope you've enjoyed at least some of our chat and opinions. I've just thanked all of my great contributors, and as I said, it would be very, very dull, me just ranting and raving. I know some podcasters do that, but it's not something I'd want to listen to. So I'm glad, and I hope you listen to it. We will see you in a couple of months. I hope you all have a great summer, and we'll see you in July for a pre-season episode. So cheers, everyone. Play up, Pompey.
Cheers. Play up, Pompey.
Come on, Pompey.
Pompey.
Thank you very much.